And Sketch, this tells you that it's that Halloween is around the corner. Sketch is a kids horror film. It's kind of like an entry level horror film, but it does the whole Disney thing, which is it's. I feel like it's something that has something a little bit more to say, because the whole idea about it is that you meet this family and the mom's dead, which straight out of the Disney playbook. Dead mom, cool, go tick. And you have these two kids, a boy and a girl. They're left with their dad, and they're all trying to deal with the grief of their mom missing. The dad's way of dealing with it is he takes down all the pictures of the mom and everything like that. He tries to sort of like, go, okay, no, everything's good. Let's just keep going. The son's thing is, I can fix it. I'm going to fix everything. The daughter is the only one and she's actually kind of like, just goes into the grief. She draws a lot. And so she draws a lot, and that was her thing. And then she starts drawing all these things, but the drawings that she gets get progressively darker. They get progressively darker, and they get as she's and her dad takes it to the school psychologist. The school psychologist is like, I think the only way to is let her keep drawing. Let her keep drawing. This is the way she's expressing it. Let her do it. And one day, after they have they have a dinner where the kids are asking their dad, they're like, "Are we orphans now?" He's like, "What are you talking about? I'm here. You're not orphans. You're not orphans. I'm here." And they have this whole thing where the son realizes that there was a bit where their mom used to walk in the woods near their house, and his phone is broken. It falls into the lake, and he sort of like managed to get in there and fish the phone out of the lake, and the phone is fixed. And he's like, what the heck? So he starts testing in a way there's a broken plate that his sister breaks when she's angry about a conversation they're having, puts it in the lake, the plate comes out whole, the plate comes out fixed. And so because they have his mom's ashes in the house, he kind of goes, hang on a second. So you can see where the kids think is going. Is like, hang on a second. If this is happening, maybe we can get mom back. And
that never ends well, does it? That idea never ends well. I don't.
Yeah,
Monkey Paw.
It never ends well. But and this is where I think that this film is actually a bit of a cut above. It's a cut above what you usually get, because it doesn't go where you'd think it would go from there. His sister follows him and says, what are you doing? And while trying to figure out, he's like, hang on, is this one picture? What are you doing with those? Her notebook of all these scary monsters that she's been drawing gets thrown into the lake. Gets thrown into this lake. And then when they fish the notebook out, they run back home. And the kid, the next morning, he's like, his dad is like, come on, talk to me. And he's like, I think all of her pictures are coming alive. And she's like, and his dad is like, oh, for goodness sake, I'm trying to be real with you and everything like that. And then it becomes this mixture of like Jurassic Park, and where all these pictures do come alive, and all these pictures, they look exactly like she drew them. So you have this thing with googly eyes and snakes for feet and all that kind of stuff in a cornfield outside in North Carolina, and it becomes quite. And I think the effects work in this film is excellent. The effects work is excellent because you don't ever see the. You don't ever sort of see the join, but for me anyway, of where these monsters come up and everything like that. And as outlandish as these monsters are and what she's drawn them for, and there's monsters that have no eyes, and she drew them, and essentially whatever intention she drew them with, that's what they're trying to carry out. So there's this boy who keeps bullying her, and because they're kids, you know what that means. There's this boy who keeps bullying her, and she drew a monster and she drew this monster eating this boy. So this monster comes alive and starts chasing this boy down. And I think it's really inventive in the way they do it, and the sort of the ideas of the different monsters. You can imagine that a young girl would have drawn this and would have dreamt this thing up. And the way it uses colors, because obviously these things are drawn with either a crayon. If they're drawn with a crayon, they still have this sort of crayon effect in the real world. So whenever they step, there's a little bit of dust of like whatever thing, or if they're a marker, there's a bit. And the way it uses, there's some shots in this film that are absolutely beautiful because of the way they've just used crayons and all that kind of stuff. I watched it because it has Tony Hale and Darcy Carden in it. And these are two people who are usually kind of like, a supporting character, ended up being like the best thing. Most people don't know Darcy Carden unless they've seen The Good Place. If you watch The Good Place, she plays Janet in The Good Place. And so she's in it. And I was like, okay, yeah, I want to go watch this thing. And I was actually pleasantly surprised with this. The kids mostly carry things off. There's a couple of scenes where you're like, oh, maybe we need a little bit longer to just sort of like, iron out that child actor thing from this scene. But for the most part, it's good, and it goes to some weird places. Like some of the ways in which this is how we're going to defeat them, this is how we're going to do that. Even it's weird. It is pleasantly weird. It is pleasantly out there, and I quite enjoyed it. I would give it a 3 out of 5. I'll give it a 3 out of 5. I think it's a good watch, and it manages to get that sort of like Amblin, like an E.T. or something like that. That fine line between it's a kids movie, it's also a horror movie, but it's also an adventure. And I'm like, it's like, like a kid's own adventure kind of thing. So I would give it a 3 out of 5. I would recommend that you watch it. And even though the monsters are drawn by pencil and marker, it is not animated. It is crucially, Sharon, not animated.
Well, I thought that it was advertised, and I was tempted by it actually, because I thought that looks a little bit different.
Yeah.